Hey guys, welcome back to the HandyTech channel. In part 5 we took care of some dodgy paint, assembled some flat pack cupboards from Bunnings, and I showed you how I installed them in the laundry. In this episode we are going to install an acrylic splashback and upgrade the water and electrical fittings. The splashback I chose was $265 from my local hardware store. It is a colour called Mist, which I thought would add a bit of contrast to all the white. This little budget animation shows how I planned on installing it. The acrylic was fairly easy to work with. I first made a sacrificial work surface that I didn't mind cutting and drilling into. This workbench was just about big enough for the whole piece. The acrylic has a layer of protective plastic on each side, which can be peeled off after marking and cutting. I spent ages making sure that I had the exact right measurements, and I used a number of different tools to transfer these measurements onto the acrylic. I was also conscious that because I was marking on the back of the acrylic on the white side, that all of my measurements had to be mirrored so that when I turned the piece over and the blue side was facing me, it was in the correct shape. To cut the acrylic, I used an angle grinder with a thin metal cutting disc. I also used a Dremel for some of the tighter spots. Make sure you've got adequate protection on when you do cut this stuff. It can flick up some pieces that could be dangerous. The acrylic melted a bit when I cut it, but don't stress, the melted pieces break off really easy, and you can also hand sand it to smooth any rough edges. To cut the holes for my plumbing and electrical, I used a hole saw. The best way I found was to just partially cut the hole on the coloured side, then flip it over and cut the rest of the way through on the white side. This way you get a really nice and clean hole. To install the acrylic on the wall, I used Gorilla's double-sided adhesive and heaps of clear silicone. Before I applied the tape or the silicone, I had to peel off the protective plastic layer on the white side. The Gorilla tape is strong enough to hold the weight of the acrylic in place while the silicone dries. The Gorilla tape is pretty expensive, so I made sure that I just put it in strategic locations. I put on heaps of silicone, and I just tried to avoid having any squeeze out come out of the holes or around any of the edges. After peeling off the other side of the double-sided tape, I carefully carried the acrylic inside and stuck it in place. You pretty much get only one shot at this, and if you have someone to help, it would be much easier. You can see I'm pressing really hard in as many areas as I can just to help spread out that silicone and make sure the acrylic is as flat as possible to the wall. The Gorilla tape easily supported the weight of the splashback, but I also chose to clamp the acrylic to the wall with the old plumbing hardware. I let the silicone set up for only a few hours before I carried on, mostly because I was pretty confident in the Gorilla tape, but also because the tap hardware will clamp the acrylic tightly to the wall. I bought a new electrical outlet, washing machine set and sink set for the laundry. I had to alter the hole slightly for the wall socket, but it all went together great. I spent a few $100s on the taps, which kind of pushed the laundry budget a bit, but you really get what you pay for. I'm no plumber, but I know the basics, and I made sure to use the right washers, plenty of thread tape and lube. These taps came with some nice covers which cover the holes I put in the acrylic for the plumbing, and they look really good. And I put on the sink taps in pretty much the same method. For the cold tap on the right of the sink set, I had to just edit the hole size a little bit. I made a mistake when I was measuring, and I'll show you at the end what that looks like. So that's it for part 6. I still have a bench top and roller blind to put in, plus the final touch-ups and edging. Cheers for watching, hope this video helps with your renovations. If you like my videos, hit that subscribe button or give me a thumbs up. Cheers.